about our next speaker. Coming directly from France to the world, we have Alain Bindels with us, Head of Innovation, Facilitation, and Digitalization for Hoffmann La Roche. Alain's a trained agile coach, transformation lead with experience in human and patient-centric design of healthcare, and has been working more than 12 years at Roche in different roles. He has extensive innovation management experience, setting up innovation labs, innovation programs, open innovation, crowdsourcing, knowledge management, and building innovation cultures. In addition, he's leading an innovation network at Roche to support the business to innovate and manage innovation programs to support digital transformations. Alain has set up an innovation agility program to build new capabilities in the organization to support the organizational transformation. The program focuses on agile ways of working, including rapid prototyping, co-creation with customers. The program supports the company's transformation to move the organization to a more self-organized, self-directed approach. Alain, it's a real pleasure to have you with you from France to our global audience. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to actually be here today. Okay, so I will share my screen. Is everything working? You can see my screen?
Looks great. Looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, so today I will speak a little bit more about scaling innovation and how we do this at Roche. I mean, we have been in a transformation in the last 3-4 years, focusing on digitalization and also on a new way of working in the company. So I will speak a little bit more about this. And of course, COVID-19 has learned us a lot about digital transformation, especially in healthcare. All of us, we had to completely shift, the way we're working. I mean, hospitals, doctors had to really become more focused on using digital tools to connect with their patients, connect also with our industry. So it has been actually a very good moment to also push more digital transformation in the healthcare industry. So of course it's a tragedy, but there's also a lot of opportunities, I would say, for digital transformation in this crisis. So what we really try to do at Roche is to really prepare our company and our employees for future skills. And I think this is really important, especially for more traditional oriented industry as the pharmaceutical industry is. We really need to shift, our skill set. Of course, becoming more focused on technologies, on new technologies, so more focused towards tech industry. And combining tech industry with pharma industry, I think will be really the good combination, right? So we really try to hire also new type of employees with digital skills or coming from tech industry, and really also training our current workforce in these skills. So we're focusing on many different skill sets, but main focus, I would say, is really on customer centricity. So one of the big shifts that we are seeing now is to focus more on understanding the customer needs, engaging directly with customers, and also co-design solutions with them. So that is very critical, I think, for our future success. Agility, of course, which is coming, originally from more IT or tech industry, is now also coming into the pharma industry. Really training our workforce in agile being and doing, so really like Scrum, Safe, and other agile frameworks, and focusing also on experimentation mindset and a designer mindset. I think this is really critical skill sets that we're focusing on. I mean, collaboration is very critical. Partnership, again, also with external partners, tech companies, even startups are becoming more and more critical, as we cannot do it only by ourselves. I mean, we're really good at developing new diagnostic tests and medications, but if you think about digital health, you need to really collaborate with tech companies, with startups that are experts in those fields. So really building those ecosystems in the countries is very important, right? So all the different affiliates, they're trying to build local ecosystems with tech companies, with startups, also with hospitals, with patient organizations, to really understand the needs better and to co-design then those solutions. So because of the collaboration aspect, of course, emotional intelligence is very important, and collaboration skills. Then this new way of working or new way of thinking is also very critical. So all our leaders and employees have been trained in this. It's focusing mainly on, system thinking, like understanding the system, so understanding better how the different stakeholders and pieces fit together. Also focusing on future thinking, so trying to understand what are the future trends in healthcare, trying to predict trends, also opening up and looking at different industries or even different companies. And of course, being as diverse and inclusive as possible, right? So also diversity and inclusion in our workforce is very critical. Then the focus on innovation is very important, right? So focus, of course, on impact for our customers, also having a growth mindset, right? So being an open mindset in understanding, okay, the opportunities, the possibilities, rather than all the threats and the difficulties. And focusing also on innovation coaching skills. So we have really trained innovation coaches in the company across many different departments. So from commercial to R&D to IT, that really are there to coach digital projects in the different functions to really be successful. So as I already mentioned, agility has been a huge key element for us. And this started like 4 years ago, where the board of Roche really said, okay, we want to become a more agile company. So really the board took this decision, and all the top leaders are being trained and being coached in what does agile leadership mean. And of course, I mean, for a lot of the tech companies, this is maybe already quite old, already existing, but for us, it has been a big change, meaning also more empowerment for employees, maybe less top-down management and controlling the employees. Being also more self-organized, right? Like having squads, having small teams that take decisions that are fast, being more customer-centric, and of course the ability to adapt to change. So this whole transformation program is now, I would say, like 4 years old, and now we are really working with more the operational side of the organization to really build up these skills. So all the top management has already gone through it. The bottom up as well. We're now training everybody in Scrum, design thinking, agile frameworks and agile methodologies to really adapt this change into the organization. Another important aspect, of course, is the culture and the mindset. And we have built up different focus areas in the company on digitalization. So we have like different working groups that are focusing on digital trends, for example, RPA, right, or robotics, automation, digital healthcare. And we have some kind of a platform as well, or internal platform, social media platform, where different groups get together globally so they can connect with each other, share knowledge, also find out what are initiatives that are happening in Asia Pacific or in Europe or in US, and share the knowledge across. Then we also have a digital and data academy where we really help employees to develop more digital and data science skills. So to really become more familiar with like RPA, AI, automation, all these different topics, and really also learn from each other. So we have a lot, of course, data scientists that we're hiring. So we're hiring a lot of employees with new skills on AI, on automation, but we also try to train the existing employees in these skills in the digital academy. So this culture of innovation is very critical and also very close to my heart. I mean, I used to work in R&D years ago, and already then I had a passion for innovation. And I think we started to create like some kind of a network of innovators or entrepreneurs in the organization to spread this mindset. And of course, in the beginning, I mean, speaking 6-7 years ago was very challenging because people were not ready for it. Whereas now, today, we have like a huge network of many coaches, facilitators that are spreading this way of working. And now it's also much more wanted as we have this agile transformation. There's more and more interest in people that know these skills, that know these methodologies, and also support innovation and digital projects with this innovation mindset. So of course, the future of healthcare is going to shift tremendously. And of course, there's a lot of trends that we can discuss in this perspective. Some of the trends that we see, specifically also with the COVID, is the virtual clinical trials, right? So more remote trials. So the patients cannot always come to the hospital. Maybe some of the tests can be done from their home, using sensors, using also home nursing, when the nurse goes there to the house and they really do the test at their house. Real world data is really important, right? So real world data analytics as well. So collecting data directly from the patient, using patient reported outcomes, again, using medical apps, using sensors. And then, of course, you need to analyze the data, right? So data analytics skills are very critical, and we're building up a lot of these skills also internally. Real-time patient monitoring is very important for us. So we try to roll out as much as possible, like digital services for our patients. So we can also monitor them during their disease, during their treatment, and see how the disease is progressing and how also they are improving. And of course, this can help us to better personalize the treatment and to also predict whether the treatment is working well. Process automation, of course, or RPA, is very critical for us, mainly in manufacturing, also in, for example, the clinical trial area or in the supply chain. So there's a lot of automation projects as well that we're looking at. And of course, the future of supply chain will change tremendously. I mean, using sensors, predictive analytics, so you know exactly where there's a site or a hospital without medication, so it automatically is reordering, for example, medication. So all of these changes, of course, are going rapidly using new technologies. Another important aspect is how do we engage our customers? And especially, again, during the COVID time, a lot of the customers, we couldn't see them, right? So we couldn't visit them in the hospital, we couldn't go to the doctor's office or to the patients. So you have to find different ways to engage with your customers. So the digital customer engagement, I think, is also a very important trend. Like, how can we better engage with our customers, make it more interesting for them, and focusing on things they want to see, on services they want to have. So this is, I think, a more increasing field where we try to innovate as well. And why I'm speaking again about this customer centricity, because empathy, listening to the customer, is very critical. And I think all of you probably know this. It's a competitive advantage, right? If you understand your customer, it's not the same as doing secondary research or surveys or market research, which is all indirect information. I think the most powerful tool is to directly speak with them, to really understand their needs, and also to validate your assumptions or the solutions that you're working on with them. So we try to also bring this mindset of co-designing solutions with customers, which I think is going to be the future. It also will understand, I mean, you also understand, of course, the perspective of the customer better. And this will also create some kind of an emotional connection and also some kind of a purpose for the employee, right? If you know that a patient is struggling or a doctor is struggling, you really want to help them and really, want to improve their situation. So it also creates purpose for your employees to focus on the customer centricity. Another big element of my work as well is unlocking entrepreneurship skills. So of course, we're a big organization and we have 90,000 people, but we want to become more, let's say, nimble, more fast, more agile. And of course, we can learn a lot from entrepreneurs, from startups, right? So how can you bring like a startup culture into a big organization as Roche? So for us, we try to build innovation ecosystems and again, bring the startup culture into our organization. Also improve collaboration with the external ecosystem, so with startups, with patient organization, with hospitals, with customers, and also stimulate faster decision-making and more an iterative process towards innovation. So we launched actually last year a program for entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs as well. And this is really contributing to our Roche 10-year ambition. We want to become a partner of choice for digital health innovation. And it's some kind of a platform, right? I mean, it's a platform where we really connect internal experts with external experts to really co-create new solutions. It also provides a safe learning environment for employees where they can really experiment on digital projects, on maybe projects that are more complicated, more complex. And it's a safe learning environment. So if they make mistakes, if it doesn't go well, there's no there's no way that they're being punished or that it's like their bonus is being impacted or something. It's really a place where they can experiment, where they can really speak with customers, try out new things without running a risk, right? So it's really removing the barrier for innovation for the employees and of course also for our customer. So in this program, we focus again on this innovation mindset. So during this 3-month program, they learn these skills for innovation, like how to, for example, develop a business plan, how to also do the customer validation of the technology, how to also pitch, for example, their final solution or experiment. Again, all these skills, they're being used and learned during this program. During the program, because it's often digital projects, they of course get to know more about these digital capabilities. They are, co-developing again with digital experts, right? So they really meet also digital experts in that field. They learn from them. They also integrate those digital capabilities in their work. So again, it's a great learning and development opportunity for the employee. Customer centricity as well. So we really are working on the customer journey and designing a solution together with the customer. So we really connect with hospitals, with the doctor, with a nurse, or for example, with the patient, if it's a patient-focused solution. So they really learn this skill by doing it, right? By really connecting with the customer directly and getting also feedback on their proof of concept, on their experiments. So they really, get feedback throughout the program. During this program, again, they also learn this agile way of working. And we have also agile coaches assigned to each project. So each project is a small team of 4 to 5 people, including 1 agile coach, an internal Roche colleague actually, that is really equipped with the knowledge to coach that team throughout the 3-month process. It also will help us to leverage and attract talent, right? I mean, we want to also open up more towards different type of talents, maybe people that are not coming from pharma industry originally. So it can be students that can also participate in these programs, and also promote again this collaboration and innovation approach, right? That if you work for Roche, you want to really, be staying with Roche because we offer these kind of innovative programs. You can work on your idea, on maybe digital ideas that you have, and you can develop them. So it's really giving also the time and the 20% time commitment that these employees can work on such a project. Again, this partnering, so we work also very closely with procurement and with Roche Partnering and the Venture Fund to create new partnership with startups and experts. We have also developed a database of innovative startups where any type of a company that want to collaborate with us, they can register in our database, and we can then screen the database based upon the business challenge to see if there's a right fit to partner with an external company. And I think this is really good to also stimulate this external partnership, not only with like the big technology companies, but also smaller players that bring like unique skills and unique technologies to the table. Again, developing these ecosystems is very critical. This is also happening often at a country level, at a local level, where really the affiliates, they build connections and partnerships again with the local healthcare ecosystem, with patient organizations, startups, with also the health authorities. And again, in that ecosystem, you can then develop new solutions and also build trust and partnership to create those solutions. And then very important for us is to accelerate those digital projects and scale them up, that once they're at the end of the program, that they're ready to scale up, for example, at a country level or at a product level. So that is really the aim, to really scale them up, that they can be rolled out and be implemented more globally. So it's really like an accelerator program or incubator program where we, again, run the experiments and the proof of concepts. And once they are validated, then of course we can scale them up, right? But it's really in the initial phase, it's validating the technology and validating the experiments. So within this umbrella of the initiative, we have 4 different parts. So one is the entrepreneurship program, this 3-month coaching program where we really explore like digital projects and run this for 3 months, where they get coaching, they connect with startups, with customers, and really design, let's say, experiments and proof of concept. Then the second pillar is startups on site. So we're working, of course, to bring startups on site. Due to COVID-19, it has been delayed, but we're still working on, let's say, on a virtual connection at the moment, but really to bring also startups on the Roche campus so that they can really get access to the Roche employees, to the Roche resources, and to also, again, have events with them, hackathons, workshops, but also have them closer to our Roche colleagues. Then we have a startup exchange program that we're currently piloting, where Roche colleagues can rotate into a startup. So this means a Roche colleague for a short-term assignment, they rotate into a startup. They learn from their way of working, from the new technology. The startup is benefiting from their expertise, be it a legal expertise, regulatory expertise, digital expertise, whatever type of expertise the startup needs, to really have a win-win on both sides, right? So it's learning by doing and really get this exposure to the startup culture. Then the fourth element is the external accelerator. So we have also a contract with Plug and Play Createware, where we really are accelerating and investing in startups. So we have like every 3 months a batch of 5 to 6 startups that is being accelerated, and of course gets also access to Roche resources, coaching, etc. Then we organize innovation events, of course at the moment all virtual. And we also have this startup engagement tool where we've built this database, where we also organize like startup days or technology focus days where we have pitches of external companies to our Roche colleagues. So very important when we designed this program is to have an added value for each partner, right? So very important, there needs to be a value for the external partner, be it a startup or an external company. The benefits, of course, for Roche, focusing on our Roche 10-year strategy, on our 10-year ambition. And very important is also the benefit for the employee. So this, again, these programs are development opportunities for our employees. And it's also somehow a benefit, of course, to upskill your employees, that they are satisfied, that they're excited about their work. And when you have satisfied and excited employees, you will have a bigger, I would say, impact and, of course, a higher motivation of your workforce. So a little bit more about this entrepreneurship program that we started last year in 2020. So we organized an innovation conference, which is our yearly innovation conference. Again, this will be this year on the 15th and 16th of June. So last year, 23rd of June, we had 50 different business challenges, and we organized a hackathon with these projects with internal and external partners. So there were startups there, there were customers there as well involved. And out of the hackathon, 5 winners were selected. Then we had a kickoff week where during an intense 1 week, all the teams were being forwarded. They were meeting also the external partners, the startups, and they were really trying to fine tune, okay, what is their concept? What is their business proposal they want to work on? After that kickoff week, they had then weekly coaching sessions with their coach that was assigned to them. And we had then monthly, let's say, workshops as well, longer workshops where we got together with all the teams, share with them, or they shared, of course, with us their progress, but we also helped them then in their next phase of the project. And then at the phase 4, the investment, right? So they really had to do the experiment, the proof of concept, and show the impact that their experiment has made on our customers, on our business model, and of course pitch to our senior management to say, okay, we have showed this and this impact. We need more funding now to implement this and to go to the next level. And of course, some of these projects then were funded and they moved then up into a scaling phase where we really are then upscaling their experiment into a more global organization within a specific business unit. And to also maybe end my presentation, before we started this whole program, we actually met many different stakeholders. So we did also some workshops with universities, with entrepreneurs, startups, also with local government organizations in the region to really understand, okay, what is the benefit for them? What do they want to see, right? And we designed this program based upon their input to really make a program that is added value for, again, for us, but also for the employee and for the entrepreneurs and startups. And I think it has been a great journey so far, and I'm sure that in the next couple of months, years, we will see more and more of these programs. So I'm looking very much forward also to your questions. And of course, learning and innovation go hand in hand, right? And I think it's the arrogance of, we were successful yesterday or last year, and this will be sufficient for the future. It will not be enough, right? So I think we need to continuously reinvent ourselves, trying out new things, and also, again, partnering. For me, it's all about, building new partnerships for new solutions that our patients need tomorrow. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm looking very much forward to your questions.
Alain, What a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much for sharing these insights on how not only you know, how you do innovation, but how you're scaling innovation. And in that respect, let me change my background to fit the theme here. And I would like to ask the audience to provide your feedback and your questions. Right now, we have a global leader and expert on innovation acceleration with us, and I want to make sure that you get the most value from this interaction by asking the questions that are most important to you in your context. So I'm going to be monitoring the questions box for your questions so that I can relay them to Alain in real time. So let me make sure that I have my screen correctly aligned here so that I can see the questions coming in as I pass on some of the comments and questions that came up during Alain's presentation. So the first one has to, first of all, lots of comments about great presentation, great, view of what the organization has undergone and the systems that you have put in place. Tell a little bit about, for those who don't know, what kind of the size and scale of what you're doing here? What is the size of the organization and number of employees, business units around the world, things like that, so that they have a bit of feel?
Yeah, I mean, our company is 90,000 employees, right? So we have like the pharma division and the diagnostics division, which are like two separate divisions. So really focusing on developing treatments, and the other part, diagnostics, focusing on developing diagnostic tests. Also the COVID-19 test, for example, we have developed. But I think the interesting parts of what I was showing as well, like these programs, so we started this last year, and we see now also across the world in the affiliates, we are expanding these programs, right? So we also try to do this at the affiliate levels, right, in different countries. So this was done at the global level, but now we're trying to implement this type of programs with our partner. Actually, we work with Board of Innovation, which is our partner for this entrepreneurship program, to expand these programs in the affiliates. So it's of course, I mean, regional, right? So in APAC, we have a similar program. In South America, we have a similar program. This one was maybe focusing more on our headquarters side, right? In European headquarters, we're based in Basel. But I would say this whole, let's say, change in transformation in the way of working has been everywhere, right? In Roche Pharma, in diagnostics, in the affiliates. So these coaches, for example, I was mentioning this coaching network, this is global, right? So these are people in different countries, completely different backgrounds that are part of we have a kind of a tool where you can also find, for example, agile coaches or innovation coaches. You can say, okay, I'm looking for a coach in this region or in Africa or in Asia or in Europe. And then you can scroll, to the different coaching skills that you're looking for. So it's really to also connect, I would say, different countries, different regions with each other. But this program is quite new. And again, this is now also being implemented, for example, in research and development. So we're working on a program there now. We're working again with the affiliates to also implement it in different regions. So yeah, I think it's a way of working we want to stimulate. And again, it's very experimental. It's very new, I guess, for Roche, right? I mean, other companies have been doing this maybe already, but for us, it has been quite new, and it's quite successful. I think people are interested. There's a lot of excitement around it. So I'm very confident that this will stimulate also a new culture and also a new way of doing business.
That's excellent. And as I look at some of the questions coming in, the themes that people are interested in, what is it like in terms of this structure, Alain? A bit of the governance and the structure that you have to put in place to get this started. What does it look like?
Yeah. I mean, just to be very frankly honest, like I'm actually part of HR, of human resources. So we somehow enable this, right? We're more an enablement office or team that is, putting this in place. But we work again with many volunteers, right? So these are often, I would say, innovators or entrepreneurs that are super excited about this, that are, agile coaches, that are innovation coaches. So I think there's a lot of momentum in the organization, right? So we work with highly motivated individuals. It's also when we look for projects or we look for coaches, we just do a call throughout the organization, like who is interested, who has a project, who has an idea, who wants to be a coach. And we get like lots of people coming back to us, right, that are highly motivated and actually want to be part of these programs. So I would say it's really based upon intrinsic motivation. Of course, you have to have a small office. I mean, we're like a team of 4 or 5 people that put in place like these crowdsourcing tools or these programs. But in the end, you need actually people from the organization that are then coaching, that are part of the teams. And yeah.
And
so it's really a small team. It's a very small team that is doing that.
And what type of training and support you do to build the capabilities in the organization for these innovation leaders related to collaboration, specific methodologies that you may be using? Tell us a little bit more about how do you build up the skills?
Yes, so we have a quite extensive program, and we're also launching, for example, now in March, a new training, which is innovation coaching. So this is really specifically designed with our partner Board of Innovation on how do you coach digital innovation projects, right? Like how do you go from scoping the idea, understanding the needs, understanding the customer needs, then to also, again, validate your assumptions, to prototyping or experimenting your idea, to building a business model around it, right? Like to understand the business model canvas, like how do you create a business model around it, and then to validate your idea and also upscale it, right? So it's like a whole process. So this is the innovation coaching training, which is more for innovation coaches. Then we have many agile trainings, agile leadership trainings, or Scrum, design thinking, customer value proposition, so meaning the lean startup canvas model. So many, I would say, different methodologies are being used, but yeah, many of these agile skills we focus on, and we have then innovation coaching in entrepreneurship skill toolbox as well. That are the main ones that we're focusing on. And of course, we have other trainings like normal communication skills for these type of things. But really, for this specific part, innovation, entrepreneurship, we focus on those skills. And a lot, again, we stimulate employees to be part of such projects, because if you're part of a real digital project and you're doing it, it's a very different way of just doing an online training or like a virtual training, right? It's more like working on a real project with real customers, with real patients.
Absolutely. And a follow-up question related to that is the training done? What are the channels and mechanisms for the training? Are this facilitated sessions, self-paced sessions? Of course, online or in person. Right now, I assume that everything's been done virtually. But what does that look like?
Yes, no, good question. So we all the sessions are, of course, virtual, and they're facilitated sessions, right? So we have training companies, including Board of Innovation and other providers, or Scrum.org, for example, another one, that are really facilitating those trainings, which is really facilitated by a trainer. They have, of course, group work and breakouts. And of course, I mean, we stimulate them to also apply it into their day-to-day work and then come back, with questions that they have to us, right, or to the trainer. So we really create this network. So after the training, so they do the training, then they sign up to this facilitation network where they can also ask questions, learn from others that are part of this network.
Excellent, that's terrific. And Alain, a follow-up also, there are a number of questions that are coming up related to this. How is this focused only on the digital innovations, or you are doing more broadly? Like someone has an idea in developing a new drug or a new business process that's not digital. Is that part of it as well, or this focus exclusively on digital?
I mean, I would say a lot of the focus is on the digital. I mean, there's also a focus on process improvements, but I think we're mainly for this entrepreneurship program, we're looking at more disruptive innovation, right? So we're not looking at incremental innovation, like more process improvements and these kind of things, but more disruptive innovation with impact on our customer or on the healthcare system. So we really are looking for more I would say, disruptive ideas, or more, so more the transformational type of innovations rather than like smaller innovation. But of course, these methods that they learn, they can apply it in any in any program, right? It could be in a process innovation, could be also developing new products, right? I mean, absolutely, they can apply it, but we are focusing mainly on disruptive types of innovations or transformational innovation.
Very good, because that was one of the questions, how you are prioritizing and selecting what you decide to work on. So if you can go a little bit further on that, if you're looking for disruptive type of innovations, and then what type of criteria are you using to decide what you work on, what type of projects to work on, and what type of projects are not ready yet? How do you manage that?
Yeah, no, so when the projects are being submitted, so at the moment we're receiving now the submissions for the next round that will start in March. So we look at 5 different elements. So the first one is it aligned also with the Roche vision, right? Or the Roche ambition, the Roche 10-year ambition. Then second point, does it have an impact on our customers? And customers can be, again, if it's Roche Diagnostics, it might be hospitals. If it's Roche Pharma, it might be patients or doctors. So the customer impact. Then how transformative or how disruptive is their proposal? Is it really something it's like already existing and just an improvement, or is it really like the next step, like transforming, the way we are collaborating with our customers, or shifting into a completely different business model? So also the business model innovation, right? Like, is it really proposing a new business model? Then is there a focus on external collaboration? So would this proposal also fit with an external collaboration with a startup or another company, to the external collaboration aspect? And then also sustainability. So we also look at, is it a sustainable proposal? I mean, does it help to become more sustainable as a company? Yeah, so the customer centricity, sustainability, focus on our 10-year ambition, and how disruptive or how transformative is the innovation.
And one of the biggest challenges of accelerating innovation is time. People are busy, and typically the best people in the organization are even busier, because there is a reason why they got to certain positions and certain roles, because they have insight, or they're just super bright people who get things done. And time is one of the biggest challenges. How are you dealing with that? How are you dealing with the resource allocation for this very, innovative people who want to be part of it, but they may be constrained by the day-to-day operations of the business?
Yes. So, of course, to be part of this program, they need to make the time available, right? It's minimum 20%, but can go up to 30, 40%, right? Depending on the time of the project. So, of course, there is support needed from their organization or their management. And of course, there needs to be a commitment, right? So we also have like interviews with them to understand like what is their commitment? Do they have time to work on it? Can they make themselves available? Did they have the discussion with their team or their line manager? And once we feel, yes, they have the full commitment and they really want to work on it, of course we let them enter into the program. But the organization again gives them also this 20 to 30% of time commitment that they can really spend on the project. So they get like some kind of freed up from some of their daily tasks to work on this.
That's great. Thanks for that insight. That's very helpful. Disruptive innovation has an incredibly high failure rate. So people get super excited about disruptive innovation. And a lot of times it's technology applications that are really not disruptive. They're just extensions of the core, more of adjacent. And technology by itself is not disruptive. It's only disruptive if you're disrupting a business model. So when we talk about disruptive innovation, there's this high potential for reward, and there's a huge failure rate. So how do you manage that expectation within the organization, with the leadership team, the need for demonstrating value creation, which in a lot of these cases is going to take a long time for it to actually be real value creation at the bottom line level? How do you manage all those forces in innovating in an area that's filled with danger, if you will?
Yeah, no, I think what I think is also the success of this program, right? I mean, at the beginning, we don't invest like hundreds and hundreds of thousands in these projects, right? These are small projects. the investment is relatively low, I would say. And it's more the time investment, I think, of the employee that is costing the most, right? Because multiple employees work on a project, that's probably the most investment for the company. So because it's a low investment, the appetite for this is high, because there's not a lot of risk that we run. There's not a lot of, how to say, investment that we lose otherwise. So I think that's, from that point of view, I think it's actually really a great way of doing it. On the other hand, of course, like you said, like some of these innovations, they will shift the business model, and they will take time before you see the revenue or the return on investment, right? So, I mean, I remember one project was about building like a completely digital platforms for our doctors that are using our data, like genomic data. And of course, before we see a return on investment, before such a tool has been rolled out to all the oncologists, and you see the return, you speak probably even 2-3 years, right? So again, you need to get the support and the buy-in, right? On one hand is getting the buy-in on the vision of the project, the potential, and once, of course, the experiment is successful or validated by the customer, then there is more investment being done. So then there's more risk being taken. But during the 3 months, I would say it's more like an experimentation phase, right? It's like a sandbox. So they can really try out without too much risk, without too much even management expectation, and find something incredible, right? Or learn from it and move on. But I think it's really giving that month, I mean, giving the time, giving the focus, the support for the idea to flourish, right? Because many of these ideas, they would never, let's say, see the light, because people are too busy, like you say, or people are, doing their day work, so they cannot work on these projects. So I think it's a great way to try out many different ideas, many different projects without too much risk, because the investment is very low from a budget point of view.
Thanks. Great insights, Alain. So I want to wrap up with a question here, because this is such great insight and practical experiences and knowledge on building and scaling innovation programs, which is of tremendous interest for our audience. So you have been doing this now for some time, and you have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly related to building an innovation program. So for those who are listening right now and watching us, and they're thinking, wow, I need to do this, but it's hard to even know where I get started. So what is your recommendation for other organizations who and leaders who want to build a program like this? What have you learned, and what would be your recommendations for them to get started in the right foot?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I think a big learning we made is really getting the right people on board. And when I say the right people, it's not necessarily the senior management, right? It's like getting this, I would say, community of entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs with the excitement that really want to make a change in the company, they want to make an impact, getting those people connected. And with those people, I think you will already make like a big step forward, because these people are very motivated, very passionate, and they want to work extra, they want to do these things. And with them, I think you can create some kind of a network to push others, maybe late adapters, into this type of working, right? So really building that community, I think, was very critical from the starting point. Of course, there were moments then we also needed support, right? Like with management or buy-in or investment in these programs. But I would say the starting point was really this community, right? Getting this community of innovative entrepreneurs in the company. And with that community, then you can build step by step, these programs, organizing also events with external partners, with startups. I think that will come then, right? If you have the right people on board. So that is one major learning. And of course, also not having the arrogance, because I see a lot of, the projects, they think we can develop it all internally, right? Like, oh, we can do this in Rush, we will do everything ourselves, the digital platforms and apps and everything. And this is also an arrogance. I think you need to let go, right? Like you cannot do everything inside of the company. You need to partner at a certain moment. And I think companies that will survive, and of course we will see how Roche will be doing in other pharma companies, are the companies that are able to successfully collaborate with different external tech companies or partners. So really being open to partner and focusing on that partnership, I think is super critical.
Alain, I could talk about this topic with you all day long, but unfortunately, at the time right now, I want to just take the time to thank you for sharing your wisdom, your expertise, incredible insights, and good luck with the journey of building a culture of innovation at Roche. And you're well on your way. And thank you so much for sharing that journey with us today.
Thank you. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me via LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to answer more questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alain Bindels, the head of innovation and facilitation and digitalization at Roche. What a tremendous presentation. And he talked there in the end, you accelerate innovation by building environments where great people and ideas can connect. And that is true for Roche, also true for the business transformation, operational excellence events that we have. And this is a core principle of why we bring it all together in this environment where great people and great ideas can connect. So tremendous presentation, great discussion. We are going to have our final session at the top of the hour, and we're going to have a leader of artificial intelligence from Dell Computers, not very far away from where I'm here. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Dell is in Austin, Texas, and we're going to have Bill Wong with us. And again, he is the AI and data analytics leader for Dell. And he's going to be sharing with us how they are architecting an AI ecosystem. And that's the final presentation for our conference. And I look forward to seeing you at the top of the hour.